Welcome back to our special coverage on marriage and parenthood. In Singapore, the drop-off in the path to parenthood does not begin at marriage. It begins much earlier, at the point of simply meeting someone at all. The desire is still there. Government data shows 8 in 10 young singles said in 2021 that they hope to marry and have children someday. But for many, that hope isn't even making it to the first rung of the ladder. As of 2024, more than 3/4 of young adults aged 25 to 29 were single. About 4 in 10 singles have also never dated before. Why? Well, for many young Singaporeans, the dating scene feels less like a field of possibility and more like a grind. Dating app fatigue, the cost of going out, and too few chances to meet people in real life are all making romance feel harder to begin. Relationship experts say the problem runs deeper than that. Long working hours, weaker social and communication skills, and the illusion of endless choice on dating apps may also be making it harder for people to form real connections. And even when dates do happen, not every spark becomes a relationship. Some young adults say they want something serious, but they struggle to find people who share their values or to build the kind of genuine connection that can turn attraction into commitment. At the same time, many singles are choosing to put work first, shaped in part by economic uncertainty, higher living costs, and more expensive housing. With more young adults also investing in personal growth, hobbies, and friendships, romance may no longer be the automatic next step. For some, finding a partner, getting married, and having children isn't completely off the table, but for now, it is slipping further and further down the priority list. And for more on this, we're joined by Violet Lim, who is CEO and co-founder of Lunch Actually Group, a dating agency in Singapore. Violet, it's good to have you here with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Now, earlier we heard the studies show that 4 in 10 singles have not dated before. That is 40% of those studied.
Yes.
What are the reasons for this based on your experience, and is it necessarily a bad thing?
Well, I would say it's not necessarily a bad thing, but I would say there are certain trade-offs. Like, I think what you have mentioned just now, like now single people or young people, they have a lot of different priorities, like be it their studies, their career, or even just travel. But I think the challenge is that when we are not dating, because I think finding the right one is not just about dating, but it's also about developing a certain skill set. And like if they do not develop that skill set earlier on, like what will happen subsequently is like they might struggle with certain like communication, or like they might even have challenges when navigating some relationship dynamics, or even like when there are emotional setbacks, they are not so good at dealing with it. So I'll give you an example. Like nowadays, sometimes we have clients coming to us, they might be in their late 20s or even early 30s, and they have never been in a relationship before. And this is a big problem because their expectations of what a relationship is doesn't come from real life, but it comes from like Korean drama or C-dramas. So it's a bit unrealistic.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like they also might not know like what might work well and what might not work well. So these are some of the challenges that we foresee sometimes when they have not dated like in their younger days.
So managing expectations, I imagine, is quite important in your line of work.
Definitely.
But intentionality is also something that is very important to young people and that they say they're looking out for
Yes.
when it comes to dating.
Yeah.
What does the word intentionality mean to singles, and how does it impact the way they go out and date and meet people?
Okay, I think the challenge is that there is a gap between intentionality and action. Okay, so it's like they have so many things happening in their lives, and their priority is very different, right? So as a result of that, they might say that, yes, I'm looking for someone, but their behavior might kind of show otherwise. So it could be like a lot more like swiping and browsing than actually engaging. You know, it could be like a lot more waiting rather than initiating, or like hoping but not planning. So that is really the challenge, because what you see is that they will just kind of be like waiting around. Like, for example, I remember asking this single lady, once I say, so what do you do on your weekends? And she's like, oh, Violet, it's like I'm always very busy on my weekends. I have to stay at home and do my laundry. And I'm like, jaw drop, right? And then I'm like, that your perfect someone is not going to jump off the washing machine, right? I said, if you have to do your laundry, at least go to the nearby laundromat and maybe you might meet someone. So I I think the challenge is that, yes, they have the intention, don't get me wrong, but it's really about taking action and putting themselves in the right environment for them to actually widen their social circuit and meet new people.
Which brings us to the question, right? What are singles actually looking out for when they're in a relationship, or looking for a relationship? Are they dating to marry, or are they dating for fun, to meet new people? What's your take?
I would say it's probably a mix of both. You know, like you have people who are like exploring, so they are seeing dating as a, I would say, opportunity to not just meet new people, but also discovering themselves, like what works for them and what does not work for them. And there are, of course, people who are very interested of dating to be in a relationship. Yeah, but I think the challenge again is that I would say dating now, like it's a bit more complicated compared to like when we first started like 22 years ago. Like I remember previously it was a lot easier for us to make the match and then, you know, send them the date and then they're happy to go on the date. But now it's like our matchmakers have to work like doubly, if not triply hard to actually send them on a date, because I think the expectations are different now. Like people are not just looking to like just find someone to settle down with. I think they are like looking for someone to get it right. They are very afraid of getting it wrong. And I think the expectations, for example, they are looking for someone who have like shared values with them, like lifestyle compatibility, and even like, you know, someone who can, you know, like emotionally ready as well. So I think like what they are looking for might be a bit different from like what maybe like the previous generations are looking for.
And to add to all these expectations, there's also the issue of the paradox of choice, right? You think there's never ending choices because you're going onto these apps and you're just swiping and swiping.
Sure. Yes.
So, you know, with this digital app fatigue, if you were to put it that way, do you see more people turning back to more traditional forms of meeting, like matchmaking, for example? How has that shifted in your industry so far?
Definitely. So I think like maybe in the last 10 years when apps came into the market, like everybody was like talking about apps, everybody's like swiping and chatting, and definitely there have been successes for people who have met on apps, right? But I think this current generation, like they are starting to feel that they want real life connections. So like I think with the dating app fatigue, like the being ghosted and things like that. So what we are seeing is that now they are like moving back to like be it like exploring matchmaking services or even going for like curated events. I think now there are a lot more curated events provider out there, and also like niche communities where they can meet other people who like share the same interests as them. So I see it as a good thing because I think we need people to be talking in person again and not just chatting. Because I always tell singles, I say, you know, if you're just chatting, like you're just creating this person in your head that might not even exist. And finally, when you meet in person, you're like, eh, how come this person is so different, right? So I think it's good that people are like, you know, in a way, not really moving backwards, but I think moving forward to something that's more genuine and a chance for them to really create real relationships.
Violet, thank you so much for sharing your experiences with us. I've been chatting with Violet Lim, who is CEO and co-founder of Lunch Actually Group.